right, welcome back to the Roll Troll to Experience Radio Show. We have first here. We have three guests on the show today. Our first one is Jennifer Smith. How are you doing, Jennifer? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Blessed to make it.
Yeah, I know. It touch and go for a minute.
It was definitely touch and go. Yeah, it's one of those. Just
you're not sure. Yeah, because I got your email last night. You had a date, so I was okay. For me, it was the 15th. So there's a lot. It's a lot going on. So
life is just doing what life does. You just gotta pray and say, okay, Lord, direct this thing, confirm.
You have to. You gotta put it on God's hands, because if we try to do it ourselves, it'll make it worse.
That's it. And that's where I was. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stay calm. I'm not gonna panic. I'm just gonna say, okay, Lord, whatever this is supposed to be. So you calm that whole situation down. And I was like, I'm gonna make it. And personally, I live an hour away, so.
Ooh.
Yeah. So.
I'm sorry. You could have did StreamYard.
You sorry.
You could have did StreamYard.
It's all good.
Yeah. So before we get into you, who you are, and what you do, because we met at your event, but what got invited to your event in June. So I wanted to know, what's your views of what's been going on in our country in terms of this social justice, and also in terms of this gun violence going on in Philly. Especially our youth, over 103 now have been shot. So what's your perspective on that?
It's madness. The devil's busy, and it is so hard to remember that God is in control, but he's not a passive God. He's not a God that wants us to just look, shake our heads, and walk away. So I really just believe in purpose that we all have in us, and to be praying toward what you're supposed to be doing in the middle of all this. Like, you can't sit by and say, those poor black people, I hope they do better, and walk away. You can't look by and say, oh, those poor kids are getting shot, and walk away. There has to be something in you that, that's supposed to say, what's my role? Where am I supposed to be in all this? And that's any age, any stage, frankly. It's important to take that pause and revisit, no matter what your gifting is, no matter what your skills and talents are, and say, what could I be doing? Because it's not okay, and if I am a true follower of Christ, he wasn't, a passive God, he was flipping tables in the temple, so, we have to be willing to make stands, and I think the church is being called to carpet right now with that. I think they are being called to, to wake up and say, get out the pews, what are you doing? Stop being comfortable and complacent. And especially some of our multicultural churches that have pushed some agendas that have said that the black version of church isn't good enough, or gospel is less than CCM, things of that kind of nature, those kind of agendas. And it's time to wake up and truly look in the mirror and say, have I been a part of this bias? And is it time for me to look and change? And what can I do to make it better and to change the whole dialogue in this world with those who are supposed to be believers? We all make it to the same heaven. You don't have your own neighborhood. So, and then, are you drawing those who are lost and who are suffering? There are people out here that are just going through it, and they're looking at the church, sitting down comfortably, doing nothing. So it's, I think it's a whole lot of, I think Jesus is sitting there going, like, y'all better wake up and talking.
It's a lot of conversations we need. The conversation need to be needed, because I was playing a feature about how people changing the Bible and stuff like that, how they use it to oppress people, And so, because Jesus believed all lives matter. If all lives matter, why do the black lives matter? So because you can't be Christian and racist at the same time. You can't be that. You can't do that.
Not a true follower of Christ.
Right, you can't be both. You gotta be either or. You can't be one or the other. You can't be lukewarm. And so,
that's right.
a lot of times our church, it's the church that it's not. It's just a church of who we are inside. Because we've been home mostly for 5 months, which God isolated us for a reason. So what we're gonna do about this? It's like sometimes people came out worse from this, acting worse.
Yeah.
So at this point, it wasn't like this much gun violence amongst our youth last year. I mean, it was there, but it's sad, but it got worse.
It's gotten worse.
Right, and it's and a lot of people are doing too much talking and not doing enough action. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we do these marches, that's great. I feel they pause, but how do you do a march in the afternoon, then someone gets shot at night? So it's like, There's got to be some kind of solutions in place that
Yeah.
the tangible. They're going to work because a lot of times all these riots are they're not working. They're not really working. You know?
And you gotta address things like therapy in Black communities.
That's all should be very
It's
important.
gotta be a part of the conversation because you're not looking at things like, when we shut down, there are some people that had great, comfortable homes that, were safe and beautiful to go to, and they were able to figure it out as a family.
Yeah.
Then there were other people that were like, okay, school was my only outlet, or walking through the neighborhood was how I calmed myself down. And what did you do with those people that are trapped at home or didn't find resources or didn't even know what was available because all the government you call is shut down, you can't reach anybody. So, you have people who are boiling, inside or that are already on the brink. And therapy is stigmatized in our community, so we don't seek it out. We don't know it's okay to talk. A lot of our Black men don't know that it's a safe place, that they won't be mocked or ridiculed.
And we got that's again because of our own trauma because I'm I put it out here. I go to therapy because and I tell my youth that because we do mental health sessions for our youth because they ask conversations about middle school, high school about mental health and therapy. Okay, because even therapy we thought like you was different, you was crazy, you was psycho. Yeah, school loose in your head. But therapy is for everyone because therapy is to get better. You're not getting worse. It depends on finding the right therapist for you that been with there, what you've been through. It's not gonna be judgmental. Not gonna put their business out there that they'll truly help you. And a lot of people don't understand that. And then we gotta stop trying to find therapy. It's like, oh, it's a sin. No, it's not. It's like it's like that's because a lot of times we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
So
and it's a lot of PTSD just from being in this sin-sick world.
And being home.
Just being here. Being here causes, just the things you go through as a child, some of the things you experience as an adult, hide it on the inside. You need, by the time we hit 16 for some of us, they need therapy, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it would help people be able to manage better arguments and disagreements, conflict resolution.
Yeah, conflict resolution.
Shifts in relationships.
Coping skills.
Come on, a pandemic. So if I'm not used to being able to talk, if I'm not used to going to a trusted resource for help, then when this hits, what do I do?
Right.
What are the kids doing?
Right.
What are those who are already having beef do now?
Right, because my thing is a conflict resolution. That's big.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't resort to the gun. It's not going. They when you shoot someone, it affects their kids' family, their friends, their school. It affects everyone. And then you had another conversation about that. And it's sad that we in the state and we do talk about trauma in mental health in middle school because we try to get them because a lot of us carry that trauma from 8, 7 to our adulthood. We make all these bad decisions because of our trauma because we never had the guts to deal with it or had find someone that say, oh, it's available? Okay, I'll go here to deal with it. You know what I mean? So
even my middle school, I have a 14-year-old going into high school.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, football-sized kid, big old boy.
And that took away sports.
And they took away sports and they took away the high school experience. And at one point during the pandemic, I found him in his room a lot. And I said, finally, hey, buddy, what's going on? You're not coming out hanging out with the girls at a lot of doors. And, I said, you're kind of trapped in here a lot. What's going on? And he said, Mom, to be honest, and I've taught him how to really express himself. He said, Mom, to be honest, I'm feeling a little depressed not being around my friends. That's real. Like, you can't ignore that and go, oh, you'll be okay. You don't pack that away. You need to take that and say, you know what? Let's get you someone to talk to. Let me find ways to resolve this in a safe way for you. And I'm gonna not only hear you, but I'm gonna tell you that's important. What you just gave me is so relevant that I'm gonna be actionable.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is letting these kids know, letting these people know that if you bring a problem out, nobody's going to mock you or slap it away.
We'll give you a resource.
We're going to give you a resource, and then they'll be willing to keep. Hopefully, he'll always be a person that draws out his feelings.
Yeah, if you have to, you got to all those feelings. You can't hold them in anymore. You can't. I said we cannot be silent anymore.
No.
Because because one person one day you might snap on them because someone said, but then I don't know you then. That's why I said also I do like a virtual group for youth. Yeah. So I would love your son to get on our calls.
He would love that. He's such an eloquent and gentle spirit.
Right, cause last one we did self-care and self-love.
Oh, he would love that. David is fantastic. He's a Renaissance kind of kid. He's an artist and
yep. So
you know, just a smart but kind child.
We talk about issues that our community does not talk about with our kids.
Yeah.
So it's on Zoom. It's free. It's no pay.
I love it.
So I'll give you information on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I want to join because I want to be part of this conversation. Because I do have because being around adults that care for them, that will support them going to high school. You know what I mean?
And that's a good thing that comes out of this quarantine. You know, it's always trying to look for where is God. You know, and that's something good that comes. Maybe people that were so busy that they wouldn't have looked for these kind of resources now can sit down and say, you know what, hold on. Let me find a way that maybe I never would have looked at the self-care for a child before. That I'll slow down and I'll say, you know what, maybe this is a good time.
Especially that's why that's why God called me. God told me because we started this like last month, literally. That's because it was supposed to be like a camp if we had all the resources outside ability, but we wanted to virtual because a lot of kids were home 4 months. They were an outlet to talk to, you know.
That's it.
So, you know, or they were stuck to their friends, you know what I mean? We could have seen them because you see them on Google Meet, it's little, but it's not the same, you know what I mean? It's not the same, but and a lot of my kids, like, it was hard. And, like, and now the program I'm doing, my job, it's really been helpful. My kids are like, it's like they are more hungry because they feel safe. They can be all be transparent, authentic. You know what I mean? And hopefully we can stay with them throughout the school year because the school district is a whole other issue with them. They try to make us do in person while everyone's home. So that's a whole other conversation. So
that work?
So that's why I'm hosting at Town Hall Friday. Trying to all civil leaders in Philly to come on that call because they are kids. We are kids about how they've been doing the past 6 weeks because we have 100 kids and a lot of them did not leave. So it was because of our guidelines in terms of what they getting on, but they've been paying attention. We've been really been into like deep conversations about we do our therapy, we do entrepreneurship, financial literacy, mental health, all stuff that our kids need that schools do not really provide on a regular basis. You know, so
it's so necessary, and you know, it's also really calling again, not just the church, but all of us as leaders to carpet to say, you know, this is something we can do. This is something you can provide, is make yourself available, you know, to be a resource to some child out there, you know, or to some programming that says, I need a person that's willing to talk. I need somebody that's willing to be a mentor right now. You know, Titus 2 talks about that. My mother runs a Bible study for older and younger women all the time. And this is one of the things she's always taught me is that we're not meant to just hold in the wisdom that we get.
You gotta share it.
You're supposed to share this.
It can be a testimony. That's what I'm saying.
What are you doing holding it? You know, went through 35 tests and storms, and you're just gonna hold everything you got out of it to yourself? Like that stuff is meant to be shared.
But also you gotta be the right person to share it to, but not receive it. You know. I get her point. You gotta remind who you share it to because the time and place for that. So we kind of we didn't ask. I'm gonna ask him who's Evan Smith? Who are you? We ran off.
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Okay. Well, Jennifer Smith is a mother, a person that has had to be reinvented. I think like everybody else has.
That's true.
You know, I used to be a person that was a corporate girl, working in marketing, this and that, and that was all fine and well. And then God changed things, you know, and He redirected my path. And it's scary to have your path redirected when you're not 20, you know, when you're not young and life is easy and, you know, pressure free. So, you know, He really made a lot of changes. I was a caregiver for my first husband who had ALS. So I was 5 years a caregiver. And then after he passed, the Lord gave me a period of quiet with my children. And then I was remarried, and it has really been a shift because God is like, I gave you a period of peace, and I gave you a period of quiet, and now it's time for your life to shift. And, you know, it's been amazing, and it's also been scary. I was never the entrepreneur type.
Okay.
And God has planted a seed of entrepreneurism where it originally came from the dance world. I love to dance. I love to dance salsa and bachata and African dances like kizomba and samba, line dancing. I've always been a dancer. And I ended up being a leader because I think sometimes when your light shines, it's just going to shine. And so I ended up hosting dance events and forming an actual business out of that.
Mm.
I decided to turn that into an official LLC this year because I put my hosting for Fun Times magazines and other platforms that I host, and I put event planning under there because I also do event planning and I sing. So, you know, I do corporate singing, I do church singing, I do event singing, and, you know, it just was the necessary thing to form this LLC, but then it turned into more because we decided to buy a restaurant in West Philly, Imperial Caribbean and Seafood.
Okay, it's open?
It's gonna be open in a few weeks, 42nd and Lancaster.
Okay.
And, you know, these are things, now I'm running back, you know. It's all these seeds, we have a DJ business where we do live DJ and virtual DJ events. It has just been such a shift in my atmosphere, you know, where I used to be this person that, you know, was just very comfortable behind my desk and my team doing marketing for years. And God is like, all the things that you've learned and some that you know nothing about that you're going to have to learn, you are still in this position where I want to use you. And it's intimidating.
That's the best time when you was home, you being used by God. That's the best time when you was isolated, when you were taken away from our comfort zone, but working or being my kids or being my people. Now it's like, okay, now I'll give you this. I'm like, you want to do what? And God told me, just trust me, just go through the process and just do it. You know what I mean?
That's it. And that is so weird, is, you know, even down to taking the testing that you had to become, you know, to run a restaurant. I was like, Lord, I am not, what is happening? And, you know, I remember just, it had to be done. We were on a deadline. And I was like, are you serious? I just locked myself. And then, you know, I'm an adult, you know, so I was like, Lord, can I still study and learn and pass the test? So I had to lock myself in my office for 16 hours. Study, and I mean chapters, testing. And then I took the test and passed with an A. I said, God, okay, it's such an amazing thing when he says, you're not the only, you can't define what you are, because I may still be making you into something new. You know, and it's intimidating, but at the same time, it's amazing, and it's a spirit of humility and gratitude that comes over you when you find out he's still willing to use you in spite of you.
Right, and it's funny because we got the same testimony because he did it for me. Because I took this, I've never thought take a class online that was like over my budget, like my budget at the time. So I took this purpose class, and for like 3 weeks in June, because my girlfriend was taking it, so I had to like take it with her. And when I got out of it, it was like, wow. Then the teacher gave me a scholarship for another class called the speakers boot camp. So I was with 200 people. I graduated that because I thought I was speaking. I was like, I'll do it later, but God was like, you better do it now. So because I thought I spoke in a way that was cool, but when she examined my speaking, I was like, wow, I talk about me a lot. So I was like, I want to talk about what I accomplished and what my business was about. So that was like, and that was really big. And now I want to be part of this youth life coach program.
Wow.
So, because it's not coaches for youth. Because I want to help them get to that point when they're 16, 14, help them find out where they are and find their purpose before they're 18. So when they're 18, they can find their purpose and find out, okay, I go to school here, or I can go to this trade school for my purpose. Because I found purpose when I was 18, when I was 14, but I didn't know what capacity that was. I thought I was going to be teaching, but I said, God told me, you didn't teach it for anyhow. Now I'm an entrepreneur. I was like, what? Entrepreneur? But it was like, now I'm saying you're not powerful because my testimony gave me all this because I owe my mom, because I was complaining about my story, and I felt like I was going to be conformed to what I was. But God puts you in a comfortable state, you got to do it. You know?
You got to just move, and it's you know, it's funny, one of the other businesses we're opening is a nonprofit for youth community apprenticeships. So, you know, in Pennsylvania and in Delaware. And it's amazing. Again, all of these things came around the same time when COVID hit. So, you know, it really, I think it's funny, the quarantine did a lot of things. First of all, if the quarantine made you just sit down and pray and just sit in your room, that's okay, because no one can define how you respond to trauma.
It took away sports. So
and listen.
Took away sports.
Some men, I was concerned, and they were like, what do we do? But now, listen, I didn't know what to tell my family. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to just be in this kitchen. Like, you know, and I mean, it really, I think there were stages of quarantine. There were stages. Yeah. And I know there was that first stage where we were all just terrified. You know, kids came home and they're looking at us and we're like, everything's fine, you know, just stay in the house. You know, and we're wearing our masks.
to it. Yep.
Because I have to have some response, even if the response is I'm paralyzed or I'm fearful. What is my real response? If you're saved, a lot of times I think you have to take your response to the altar and say, Lord, I know how I'm feeling right now, and I don't know what your plan is or if that trump's about to sound, but I need you to take my response and filter it. I need you to filter my response, especially if you're a person that's in a leadership position, like you're a leader in your family or you have friends who you talk to. You have to be in this place where you're willing to be responsible for your response. You can't just say, I'm out here losing it, and you're a leader, so everybody's going to lose it with you. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect.
Right.
But it does mean you have to say, okay, I have to really have done the work of saying, God, what do you really want me to say to these kids? Or what do you want me to say to my friends? And what I just found was that the Lord was bringing me into this place of peace because he said, I want the families to reconnect. Okay, I want everybody to slow down. I was guilty to the busyness, by 1,000-fold. So he was like, slow down, sit down. You don't have to go anywhere right now. Sit down, calm down, look at your home, beautify your office, create a space, beautify your kids' schoolroom, create a space for them to be peaceful in this. And through all of this, I just found that there was after I calmed myself down quiet enough to listen, God was speaking.
Right.
And then all of a sudden these businesses started being birthed. He said, why can't you go do this? Or look at the situation. Listen to what people are saying as they cry. Can you respond to that? And in our weakness, he does show his strength every time. In the weakness of where we are in this pandemic, God is like, and yet you still have a purpose. I'm going to use you.
Yeah.
And it's been fascinating because like I said, this is nothing like what you asked me this 6 months ago.
Oh, January 1st?
What?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
We were all having our 2020 visions. What did you know?
That's gone.
The vision has been redirected.
That's why I kind of like I'm for vision board because God will, you put anything on vision board January 1st.
Yeah.
God can change it right, whip it up.
Yes.
That's gone because at the end of the day, God has the final say, not we ourselves.
Yes.
God has the final say.
He has the final say.
Yeah.
And his say is perfect. And the thing one of the things, in our family, we decided to still, we're not going to the sanctuary, we still get ourselves dressed every Sunday for church and come down into our living room. it gave us a reason, right? It just reminds us, listen. So one of the words that he gave us during this time is that God is still good.
Yes, he is.
Like in the middle of this pandemic, it can be very tempting to feel like God is like punishing folks and we are checking out of here and he is mad, his wrath.
Hey, look at George Floyd, that whole thing.
Yes, painful.
Everybody protest, everybody COVID was over.
I was like, God, I don't even know. COVID and then this, I don't know what we're doing. But guess what? In the midst of it, he's still good.
Right, God is still good.
He's still good.
You know what I mean?
And he woke up a nation. And if for nothing else, if he took this time to say, I want the nation to pause and
he shut down everything.
Shut you down.
What was the issue that was meant for a whole
and
years?
Say, look at this people, this minority class that this nation has been built on, who has suffered quietly in some cases and then yelled and been quiet again all through all these phases and stages. And this is a moment I'm going to ask everyone to shift.
Yup. I hope we stay that way. Keep this momentum going.
I hope the momentum. And what's been beautiful about it is that it's been every age. It's been every stage, every demographic.
Yes.
And I said, Lord, even if nothing else, if you've caused America to shut down long enough to say, you all have time now. Go out in these streets. You all have time now. Have those conversations with your coworkers, with your peers, with those people that are your friendly neighbors. You need to have that moment. You got to think about it. When that thing happened, everyone was home watching. It was like, what? This is because that was up on to watch. It was like, you was like traumatized. Like, what? This really happened. And then you see all the protests, and then it just went crazy. But it was protested in every state, in every country. Like, countries were protesting for us. Do you know how it feels? Like, as an African American, to see other countries, and like I said, I dance a lot of different dances, and I've internationally danced. Right. And some of my friends in other countries, like Angola, Senegal, Paris, they have actually showed me their local protests for American Black lives. That has been so empowering. And I'm like, God, you're still doing something in the middle of all of this. And like I said, and he's church to carpet to say, don't you dare try to be quiet and sit behind your hymnals. Okay, like there's not a work that you need to be doing in the middle of this, or that there is not a bias you need to address and look in the mirror and say, hold up, was I part of this problem? Have I been part of the lie? Have I been a contributor to this mess? And what should I be doing? One of my pastors from my former church, Risen Hope Church, Pastor Tim Short and his wife Aileen, these are white, okay, white pastor and his wife. She has taken to laying on her front lawn for the exact amount of minutes that it took for George Floyd to die, face down in the grass as her form of protest. That blew me away. It was such a moment. They have had hard conversations in Risen Hope, Grace and Race Ministries, where they actually have a team that has led this true talk about diversity and what God says, because He is speaking on it. He is speaking on it. So, I'm excited because I really feel like, just as my family is walking this new walk, where we're exploring we have a printing business now. We print, my husband went out and bought all this equipment. We print everything from t-shirts to banners to cups and hats. So now we're getting revenue from there. And it is so important as Black people to take the time to develop multiple streams of income.
Right, yeah.
And to not be financially irresponsible. If there was ever a time to learn about entrepreneurism and just business, or just how to manage our finances, how to manage a checking account. If there was ever a time to check on your credit and to take a moment, this is it. Like, this is our moment. I feel like, where we can really say, okay, maybe I didn't manage well in the past, okay, or maybe I wasn't taught that in my legacy. But this is my moment
to shift it.
To shift that and to shift it for my children. And to put them kids in some online coding classes. There are so many free resources right now. And working with Fun Times Magazine, one of the things I've loved about being their host for their virtual events is I have been exposed to all of these resources, from the African American Chamber of Commerce to all these grants to small business loans, and I am exposed to my children right along with it.
So do y'all put y'all things out weekly about what's going on in the community? Because I have lots of going on in the community coming out.
Yeah.
So I will send that to you.
Please do.
And also, where people can find you? I'm sorry,
Yes.
we went past on time and I guess all that.
It's okay. I am found at Jenny the CEO on Instagram, so JENNY the CEO.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't.
Okay, yes.
No, I did the Fun Times magazine.
Oh yeah, and then we can find me on funtimesmagazine.com or Fun Times Magazine on Instagram.
So Jenny the CEO?
JENNY the CEO on Instagram.
Okay, yeah, that's the one. Okay.
Yes. And then, like I said, Fun Times Magazine, we're just looking to push communication on issues that are relevant to not just Africa, but to the African diaspora. So that lets us cross all kind of conversations, and there's so much relevancy to HBCUs, to small businesses, to therapy in the Black community, and we're just dealing with all that. And I just love being a part of that conversation. And I love, these businesses, like I said, Imperial Caribbean Seafood. I hope to see you guys out there soon.
Yes, let me know the flyer so I can announce it.
I absolutely will.
Because me and my girlfriend went out to this movie cinema. It's like a movie cinema in Newark. It was far out, but it was like a long good drive down spot it would be. But it's like a Black-owned business.
Yes.
So it's like Newark Moonlight Cinema. They do movies every day from like 9 o'clock.
Oh.
And last night's movie was Friday.
Oh.
So it's Black-owned.
I have to check that out myself.
Yeah, so it was packed last night. So it's basically a drive-in.
I love it.
So I will. We gave them a great review, even though the ride was long, but it was worth going to and back.
That's awesome. And I love, and that is the thing I'm loving right now, is that we're also, as a Black community, we have been stigmatized to not support Black businesses because they're too expensive or we don't take good quality. I think that's out the window. I think there's been such a resurgence and such a unification of Black businesses and of Black business owners and of the community to say, I'm going to take a pause and not buy this right now. I'm going to go directly to your business and trust you as a Black business, and I'm going to buy from you and support from you. And I have loved seeing that. And I've done it. I took on it was a challenge online, Black Receipts. I took that challenge on to see how much you can buy and just put toward Black businesses. I think anything we can do to support our people. And like I said, this is a special time right now. Even though it's scary, even though it's unsure and it's unstable, at the same time, remember that we serve a stable God who has not changed, who knows exactly what He's doing, even when we don't. And that's where our hope has to lie.
Right.
You know, and that's what I've taught my children, that's what I tell my friends. In this unstable world that is more unstable than it's ever been, we have our hope in an unchanging God who is how we're able to have hope and how we're able to persevere and how we're able to push forward in our purpose because he's still the same.
Right, yes. So, Jennifer, we got more time. We're having more time, but we got to get you to come back and do a part two. Yeah, I've got time, man. But thank you so much for being part of the show. We're going to definitely talk and let you know about the restaurant opening as well. You had also the printing business as well.
Yes.
So, because
Yes,
I'm trying some shirts of my own, you know. So,
yes.
So for my organization. So we got.
We'd love to take care of you.
Yeah. So again, stay tuned for y'all. We got another guest coming up on Teacher Chambers. She'll be here in a few minutes. So stay on the line. We'll log on. We'll get back on. See y'all in a few minutes. That was awesome.
I had a good time. That was fantastic. And I would love all those resources, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna email you the my guy coming up. We can say the car wash coming up. There's someone's doing like resource fair in North Philly next weekend.
Really?
Yeah, so they're gonna be at 4 different locations.
Oh yeah, send that to me.
Then,
find your Instagram.
And then I'm doing a community grabber goal on the 29th.
Really?
Yup. So.
Yeah, because I can get this stuff up to Fun Times Magazine, and they will put it on their community page.
Yes.
And they're connected to Beach Industries, who is doing all those grants and things, and they have a community page.
Right.
Yeah, so send me all of that, because I'll get them linked up to all this information.
Can I get a picture right here?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so. Oh, that was really good, because we got a whole lot. I was reading out. I was like, someone's coming up. It's like,
listen, that's not a bad thing.
And then I'm doing part of this virtual school healing conversation.
Really?
On Monday on Zoom with the 2 people that graduated the class from. So you know Focus James?
I know that name.
She did the class with us.
Oh, you gotta send me. Okay.
It's a lot.
You gotta keep me on your. Listen, come on.
Yes. All right.
Where should I go?
I think
This way?
Okay, I see a light. I'll use it. It's good. I'll see it. All right. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. Sorry for the little scare. My husband's sister just had brain surgery.
Ooh.
And we weren't sure we weren't going to have to go there last night.
Right.
Which was going to throw everything off. I was like, I need to know what we're doing, you know. And they were like, okay, well, they actually pushed it off. I said, okay, then I'm going to make this in the morning and I'll move it my Saturday. But they were like, you might have to go in. They're not sure it's touch and go. I was like, all right, what am I doing? You know. So I'm like, and I can't like turn that down. But I was like, I do have an obligation, guys. So when they said, okay, it looks like it's pushed to Saturday, I said, okay, thank you, Jesus, I'm out. So, all right, you be blessed. I'll look for the connection.
Yes.
Thank you.
Went back in the house. I got a virtual baby shower later today.
Wow.
So I'm going to go get my gift. Or I'm thinking about getting a virtual gift card that I can just email them.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna clean up, stay in the house and clean and relax. I wanna play some music and relax.
So that came out last couple weeks ago, months ago.
Yeah, this came out June 19th.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this one. Poetry in here.
Poetry.
Yeah, I did a couple of different things with this one. Way different than my other ones. As I grow as a writer, my books, like it elevate, like each book is for a certain grade
Right.
level and stuff, so. But it's hard to promote it. But everything's moving, closed, virtual.
Yeah. And plus now schools are shut down, you know. So.
Yeah. But now I wonder where's the grant money going? Where's the money
Mm.
going? Like, you know?
And then now with my program at the school job, we've been home. We work from home for the past 5 months. So
Oh, wow.
they try to get us to come do in-person programming. The schools are shut down. I'm like, how the kids will get there? So most of our kids this summer that we worked with are not from South Philly. They from like West Philly, my area, Southwest Philly, North Philly. So and we have really connected with these kids, you know. So we want to stay connected with them in the fall, especially them. This is like gonna be new for them. Going beginning the school year with them, you can just not see their friends, not see new environment, you know. So it's really gonna be something really different for them. So we hope we can continue that relationship with them, you know, because I don't want to like go take what we started with them and go by the wayside, you know.
Right, I agree. I wish they would figure out how this COVID thing, like, I feel like every week is a different thing. You can get it this way, you can get it that way. It's like,
And the staff thing is it's been out since last year. And
Yeah.
like, that's basically worse. It's about last year, could have shut down earlier and then, you know, process it better, you know, so we can invent all this stuff, you know.
yeah, but I feel like since we were already doing events and big groups and things like that, I don't know, I just feel like they blew it out of proportion. They made people to get scared.
Yeah, it could be Gary, because they told us we getting very advanced at the beginning. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yes, because I went to a big event before they shut down. Before I was hearing stuff, but I went to Sarah Jake's big event in Houston, and it was a crowd of people. And I'm like, I didn't get sick after, like.
Oh, that she was on tour?
When she was on tour.
Okay, I know she was in Philly one time. She was in Philly.
And I missed the one in Philly, so I'm like, okay, let me figure out a way to go to Houston.
How was it?
Oh, amazing, amazing. Like, she fed my soul. Like, it was amazing. Like, I would go back. I would do another one.
Okay. So we're going to get started.
Yeah. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Ready when you ready.
All right, welcome back to our special edition. Hold on one second. Hold on. All right, welcome back to the Long Social Experience Radio Show here live at Philly Hot Radio. Our special edition. Our second guest is here today, Miss Tanisha Chambers. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, how's everything going with you? How's everything been?
It's been good. Can't complain. Trying to have a normal life as possible. Everything
Right.
going on, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so I can't complain.
Yeah. So, what? I asked this question to Jennifer last interview I had recent a couple minutes ago about what is your perspective on what's been going on in our city in terms of our COVID-19, and then you're talking about the social justice issues that's obviously that's, and also with the gun violence in Philadelphia. What's your perspective on that?
So with COVID, I wish we had a little bit more information about COVID. Like, I just feel like every minute I'm getting different information
Right.
about how someone can catch it, how it's spreaded, just everything. So I'm a little over it, to be honest. So I decided not to
Right.
live my life in fear anymore. So I'm
Right.
hanging out here and there, making sure I'm trying things around the Philadelphia area, things that I wouldn't have done, and especially since it's not as crowded around the city when you go downtown and different little things. So I'm still living, like, regardless of anything going on with COVID. With the whole movement, like the Black Lives Matter thing, I'm definitely standing behind that. I think my new book, I don't talk about Black Lives Matter in it, however, I talk about Black beauty and being beautiful. So I'm making sure I take a stand at home, in my neighborhood, at work, definitely. I'm reading a book called White Reality at work with my coworkers, so I'm being very vocal on the Black perspective, and I'm not being ashamed of not being ashamed of what my thought process is on anything.
Right.
And I'm being honest to my white coworkers about the struggles that the Black community we have been going through for years. So I'm not being quiet, and I'm not being ashamed of anything like that. So I think that's where I'm definitely with our people, the Black Lives Matter campaign and everything. I try to speak on it as much as possible with my friends and gun violence in Philadelphia. I really thought it was getting better, but it seems like it's not. It just seems like I don't know if it's more like the numbers have gone up. I haven't really been watching the news, to be honest with you. But it's sad that our Black people were killing each other, and we can't find a better way to resolve our issues with one another. And you know, I don't know what organizations are doing to decrease that, but I would hope, I think as maybe more programs, I think it's things that we can do to maybe change what's going on in the Philadelphia area. I'm fingers crossed, I guess, like wishful thinking, but I really haven't been keeping up. I know I have had friends, family members that have been killed this year, unfortunately. So definitely, I think I need to probably get more informed about all the violence that's going on in the Philadelphia area.
Right. It's been really a sad time, especially our youth numbers are gone over 100. And then they had a 7-year-old kid that was murdered 2 weeks ago in West Philly. So then you had a 6-year-old guy was shot. So I think almost 2 weeks ago as well. So it's a lot. It's a present time. Plus, it's just like anything gets worse and worse. It's like we was doing good up for the protest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then once after the riots happened, that's like all this violence went up. It's just like crazy. People just losing their minds. They don't have the patience of talking about anything out because they want to get a gun, shoot someone, and then you have people who deal with the aftermath of it and the damage from it. You know what I mean? Someone that has dreams and ambitions and goals gone now because of something that you couldn't be resolved.
Yeah.
So then it affects that whole family, community, the city, and just a whole ripple effect. So I think it's a lot to pray for, a lot to get better at because it's needed in our community, especially, and plus a lot of our kids don't go outside. You know what I mean?
Right.
They scared to go outside because they feel like they might have a stray bullet. You know what I mean? Like so, it's like so you know what's going on. So we're gonna get back to what you're doing. Is exceptional about what you're doing as your form of protest in terms of promoting literacy for our youth and also that inner confidence, that inner self-esteem, and self-worth and self-value. So, can you tell us who is Tanisha Chambers?
like talking about myself, to be honest. I'm Tanisha Chambers. I am, when people meet me, they see sweet, funny, outgoing, but if people really got to know me, I'm quiet, I'm introverted. I love reading, I love traveling, I'm the homebody type. I'm the person that'll stay and watch a movie. But then I do have my times where I like hanging out with my friends and laughing and joking. I'm really, I like having fun. I like smiling and laughing. I don't feel like I should sit a bit rather be sad. I'd rather laugh through the tough times. All the good times, bad times. I like to laugh through it all, just to keep my peace of mind. Because having my peace of mind means a lot to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what was your upbringing like?
My upbringing, I think it was a normal upbringing. I come from a Jamaican household, so I eat a lot of traditional dishes at home. So I didn't really grow up on the normal American dishes, even though my mom did incorporate it. But I came from a loving household, very family oriented, very loving family, close knit. So we always. A lot of times if you see me out, it's most likely with a family member versus friends. I have friends, but most likely I just spend a lot of time with my family because we're just so close. So I had a normal upbringing, close to my brothers. I'm the oldest, and I made sure to keep an eye on all of my siblings growing up, and I still do to this day. So they are my everything. So I make sure my siblings are good each and every day.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I want to talk about what you're doing now with your book. What made you start writing, and what made you decide to become an author of children's books?
Well, I've always written, not necessarily books, but I've always written poetry. When my grandfather died, I wrote my first poem for him. I dedicated it to him. So that really got me in my feelings and, connected with, in that way. So I started writing from around like 6, 7 years old. My grandfather passed away. And then over the years, I just continued to write poetry, and especially for my loved ones that passed away. I wrote individual poems for them that, I can keep their memory alive for me and my family, but more so for me. And then in college, I was like, I'm going to write a book. And I decided it wasn't children's book, I was going to write a book for young girls, just things I was going through. So it was a book about 4 girls and their different stories and different things like that. Still writing that book, it's not finished.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to end it. However, I put that on hold, and then I took a break from writing for a couple of years. But when my sister was born, she did a lot of cool stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so amazing, she's so smart, she's so outgoing, just the things, she's so creative, and she is the person that made me start writing children's books. So if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have. I probably would still be thinking of ideas of what to write about. But my sister was my inspiration to write.
Okay, wonderful. So I see you have 3 books here. Can you tell us which this book is about?
Yeah. So this is Zori and the Monster. This is my first book that me and my sister wrote together. And we wrote this in a car actually. And when we were driving, and I don't have any kids, so she was crying really loud, and I was driving, and I couldn't concentrate. So I'm like, I need to figure out a way to get her quiet. And so I'm like, let's make up a story. And I was like, monster, monster, are you behind that tree? Monster, monster, are you behind that car? And then for like weeks, that story kept it's Zori's Day of Pranks, and me and Zori is silly. We tell jokes all day. Zori has, I would say a slick mouth, but it's child friendly slick mouth. Like, so it's like she's always telling some type of joke. She's always saying something funny or smart. So we decided to write a book about Missouri and her brothers, a day full of pranks, because nowadays kids don't even get out the house as much. They're on their tablets, video games. So I wanted something interactive for the kids to think about pranks and things they can do at home and stuff like that. So that's what I talk about when I visit schools, and that's what this book is about. My last book, Beauty Defined by Me, I wrote this because me and Zori had a conversation, and me and Zori are, I think I'm a little lighter than Zori, and she had questions about our skin tone and being beautiful. She didn't feel beautiful, so we had a long discussion about that. So we decided to write a book about who defines your beauty. Like, and for me, nobody can define if I'm pretty on the outside. Only I can. You know, I've been teased when I was younger for being short and stuff like that. So I just make sure I say positive affirmations for myself.
Yes.
So I make Zori say positive affirmations. So we wrote a book just showing different skin tones, different heights, different how you dress, your style, different little things that little girls can relate to. And people may think this book is only for little girls. Well, why not read it to a little boy?
Yes.
He can know how to treat a little girl.
True.
You know what I mean? So this is what this book is about. I even added poetry. I never added poetry in any of my books. So I'm adding poetry and I'm adding activities in this book. So it's really a great book. And I'm not just saying it because I wrote it, but it's really good.
Right. I think as you write books, you find out more gifts about yourself. You reveal more stuff that maybe that came out before that you never thought you had.
Right.
And those books, I think, will be needed in the fall because of the virtual programming, especially beginning the monster part.
Yeah.
I think that beginning of the year, a lot of the kids are nervous and have anxiety and doing virtual from home and stuff like that. So, you know, and also that beautify me. That's the praise. I think that'd be a good one too. Laugh, just for laughs and just get them to laugh a little bit.
Right.
And the beautify me. That's good for anyone, boys and girls, and for adults too. You know what I mean? You can tell their daughters. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So because like you said, like there's a lot going on right now. Social media is telling them what is beautiful, what's not beautiful. You know what I mean? Or what is this, that's not inferred. So
Exactly.
I think your books are going to be vital in the fall in terms of talking to classrooms, talking to school students, and you know getting more people about defining the breeding because basically pretty much you're isolated, so you have time to work on yourself and work on your affirmations and your growth and your development. So I have an after school program too. So not me, but my job I work at. So they have an elementary school program. So hopefully once we get planned out and settled and things like that in terms of what it would look like, I would love to do virtual stories with our kids.
Oh, yeah,
Because we had planned to do it early this year, but COVID, COVID happened, you know. So
right.
you know, and then it's like the process of now you doing it virtual is not gonna be as much as it was in person. You had to read the book, they had to screen the book, make sure it's okay for our kids because our kids are very diverse. So it's like, so now virtual, I think like, okay, now I think virtual is probably just more easier. It's not really about checking, it's about, okay, because I think you do it on Zoom or go hangout, show activities with the kids. I think that the activity part the kids would love that because, especially at the beginning of the school year. Yeah. Especially figuring out who I am, what's going on, because I think that's very highly important as we are living in this time of uncertainty and unsureness of what's going to happen. And a lot of little kids need those friends, need to spend time with their friends and interact because it's hard when you're a little kid, 3rd through 5th grade, and you're home all day. Now your friends are not outside. You know what I mean? It's hard for them to bond and work on themselves and grow and Yeah, so that's why I think those books are very, very important. So,
Yeah.
where? Oh, go.
No, and even with my books, like my first two books are more so for grades like kindergarten to second grade. But I'm finding ways, especially with my book that's for like kindergarten pre-K. This book is more so for kindergarten pre-K. However, I just recently found I'm working on like a kind of a lesson plan for the older grades that I can do with them, that we can discuss fear, because I don't think we talk about those things in school. So I recently just came up with like a fear box and a dream box. So me and Zori worked on our dream box the other day, which we got a wooden box. We started painting it and everything, and the next step is us writing all her dreams in there, and then we'll put it away for her to go back a couple of years from now just to see, did she accomplish any of her dreams. And then the fear box, same thing, you paint it and then you bury it. You bury your fears. So like I'm finding ways to get my message out to the right grade, the age level.
Right, because those
like
activities are needed. Those activities are needed. That's kind of like form of like that self-care, that self-love. You know what I mean? Like they need like put it in a box. You look at it, and you add to it as you get older, as you that age. Okay, I'm becoming this because a lot of times we don't focus on what we accomplished. We always focus on what we feel. We don't take the time. Okay, I did this at third. Okay, put it in a box. And sometimes that gives us a motivation to keep going. And bury that fear box. You know what I mean? That's something we can talk about because they did this activity a couple days ago called Jar of Victory. We actually put a victory in a jar. So kind of like what Jar of Victory maybe could be like. I woke up this morning. I made my bed. Little things like that. It means we don't but it means a lot.
Right.
So. But again, so where people can find you on platforms to get those books?
So all of my books are available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. However, you can also go to my website, TanishaChambers.com. My first two books are available on there. I'm working on getting my third book on there soon. I'm just trying to finish up my hard. This is also going to be in hard copy. It's going to be my first ever hard copy in this. So I'm just trying to finish up some stuff with that. Or it's on my website. But I have my website, or people can reach out to me through Instagram, Zori Ventures Books, on IG. And if you're in the Philadelphia area, I'm always willing to meet up and drop off a book or something like that. So, yeah.
So what's next for you in terms of, you got the first book out, what's next for you? Are you doing any events coming up people can know about to see you on there so that they may purchase a book?
I'm looking into events. I haven't, just because of the whole COVID thing, it's not a bunch of events out there right now. And I'm still proceeding with caution just because we don't know what's going on. But I'm supposed to, I haven't signed up yet, but it is an event, and I'll have that on I'll have that on my Instagram sometime soon. I'm signing up for a book, Black Authors book event. So I have to get more information about that. I just have to see what works best with my schedule.
Right. Okay, that sounds good. So you can go to TanishaChambers.com and find information to get those books because those books will be essential for you and your child in the fall. Tanisha, thank you so much for being part of my guest on my show. Thank you for coming, and I'm showing you free books because all those three of those books are needed for our kids this summer. For the fall, yeah. So going forward because reading is fundamental to me, and I feel like our kids need to read books that look like them,
Yes,
and they can relate to them. To have something that they don't read, that they don't talk about, and especially as we are going to virtual in the fall, they need time to read these books and understand what beauty is, what the boxer is, and find out, work on who they are, the affirmation, the dream boxes, the fear box, because those activities can be done. That can be done at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it can be.
Right, as an open iceberg, which is very dream box, and then they put it all in trash, and then the dreams can be where you want conference the next 3 months while you're home.
Right.
Where you want, what your dreams are. Then we look at it around Thanksgiving. Okay, I did A, B, C, D. Okay, so yeah. So again, thank you so much to be part of the show. you were part of Artist Cafe before as well. So
yes, and that was great.
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
yeah, yeah, and hopefully we can see you down the road in terms of events you're doing, because your books are very valuable and needed to our community, especially in times like this. So hopefully, as the world opens up, we can have more opportunities for you to come and share your books with different daycares and different places or virtually, so for our kids. So we do have another guest. One more time, her name is Amber Jackson. She's on the way here. I don't know if she's here yet, but we'll be there today. She's on her way. But we're going to take a little admission break. Hope she can get safely. Again, Tisha, thank you so much. We'll be back on when Amber comes on. All right, hope to see y'all soon. All right.
Thank you. I didn't even realize a half an hour passed that fast.
I know, yeah, that's crazy. Yes, I'm gonna take a picture right with the sign here.
Okay. I didn't even tell anybody, but I am working on an activity book.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm in the midst of mapping that out because I'm going to do a beauty defined by me coloring book and activity. I'm thinking about making an activity book and coloring book. We'll see how that goes. I should have worn my heels.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, just me. Are you taking a picture of me?
Yes, yeah, that's
Oh,
good,
okay,
yeah.
got you.
I'll move it so there we go. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I should have worn heels if I was in high school. I'm thinking this was fun.
Are you connected with Treehouse Books?
They don't really, I'm gonna be honest, and I've learned to be more blunt and honest.
Okay, no, yeah, I thought you never done because they had a camp.
Yeah, they have a camp, but they don't bring me, at the end of the day, they don't bring me business. For me, I'm at a stage where it's not all about, for me, it's not about the money. I've donated 300 plus books on my own, with my own money.
Wow.
So it's not really about the money, but it's a give and take. I feel like I come and do an event, like I did an event where they had a block.
Yeah, I saw you. Yeah.
I was out there selling books and everything, and I was supposed to do story time. They were more focused on the anchor to read her story. It was a newscaster.
Oh.
They were more worried about her reading. I was supposed to read. They didn't keep the kid. It was just so unorganized. It's you say you want to help the community, but I'm a part of the community.
Right.
You would drive business my way also. I've given free books to you guys.
Right.
I came and did free story times. I think at least twice or 3 times. So it's like, even though it's not about the money, it's still, you can say, you know what, Tanisha has done this. Let's see if we can drive business her way.
Support her.
Let's see if you get grant money. Let's see if you can say, here's $100 towards, let's buy 10 books.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
so I'm really like, that is my mindset now. So I'm kind of not really interested in doing business with them. I'm trying to find.
I understand.
No, I'm just saying.
No, because I was like, y'all had hit me. I know I saw you just get ready to book for y'all had like set up picture of them.
I just see how certain people are with doing business. And even though I love what I do, in order for me to do it, I take a lot of my own. I have to use all my vacation and stuff to do. Like when I do story times, I use my personal time. For work. It's not like I
afterwards.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like they look out for the Philadelphia authors. Because they bought,
Wow.
I don't know who bought, but they had two authors out there. Those authors, they gave away over maybe 200 books to kids. So I don't know if they paid for those books, but I just felt like you should have supported.
People that was in Philly doing it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah. But I'm finding other outlets. I have my friends helping. And even though I do children's book, I do other stuff around the community. I'm part of like a Black professional network group.
Okay.
And I do stuff for the homeless. Like right now, lately I've been raising money. We raised over $700-800 for the homeless. So we bought tents and food and all of that stuff.
Wow.
So I'm not really only focused on the children's.
Yeah,
I'm focused on giving back as much as possible.
Right.
That means a lot to me. So
Yeah.
thank you for having
Thank
me.
you. What we down?
All right.
for 2+ years. Where am I sitting, right here?
Right there, right there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been doing 2+ years. My first year was mostly in here,
Okay.
and then last year we switched over there. Now they're back over here. So
Okay, so do you rent the space?
no, they gave it to me for free.
What?
Cause my phone owner was here. We was here, so I didn't pay for anything. So
That's very nice. That's a blessing. I gotta put myself. And what do? You air this by Facebook Live?
Facebook Live on my shows page.
Yeah, I found the show because I was like, well, what is this show? And then when you put it on there, I said, okay, wait a minute, we good. I feel like I'm at TD Bank.
I forgot. I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry.
No, I bring my stuff in.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
No, I already messaged you and asked you, was it okay? Because, you just, it's what I do. I work in the public all the time, so I'm very conscientious
Right.
of anything. Now, what type of questions you asking me? I don't have no prep, you just off the cuff?
Yeah, but who are you? What got you to your point? What made your offer? Just like general dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
you know,
like it.
yeah, it's
Now, am
not-
I able to air it, on mine
Yeah,
as well?
yeah. So, cause they said Jersey, I went out to Newark last night.
Oh, wow.
So that was a trip. I didn't know it was that far. So we went. Me and my girl. We went to this movie theater in Newark. It's like black owned.
Okay.
So it was like a Newark Moonlight Cinema. It's like a drive-in. So we went there last time. We saw.
It's Miss Fatima, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
saw y'all. I said, wait a minute, look at this. I was so excited.
Yeah. So we still together. So we.
Praise God.
Yeah. So I'm planning to marry her. So next year. So.
Amen. So you looking at proposal and all of that?
Yeah. So I'm gonna find her ring size today. Out of this, and then.
Y'all going together?
Yeah, from just ring size. That's
Okay.
And
Okay.
then I'm planning to get the ring on that Saturday at a different location. So I know the size.
This is beautiful. So I'm gonna put my
So my goal is hopefully, Lord willing, Lord don't keep saying, but I want to propose to Jeremy first, the New Year,
okay.
because everyone's home. So it's New Year's. The New Year's on Friday this year. So it's kind of a new year, new phase, new life, everything. So.
Wonderful.
So my goal is our plans to get married Thanksgiving weekend next year.
That's so funny.
Because
My fiance get married November 14th of this year.
Oh, nice.
We just got engaged in June. That's wonderful. I'm so excited.
How long have y'all been together?
Well, I shouldn't say only. We've been together since last year, but we were together 11 years ago.
Oh, so the guys girls are back together.
And God brought us back
They're
together.
like, oh, and it is.
We went our own separate
Well,
ways.
it's time. It's time.
We went our own separate ways and everything. So, God brought us back together, and it was a blessing. Women's 12 and 2, the experience radio show. I love that. I was like, you better go ahead, sir.
So basically, the Bible verse said, transfer not could be not be conformance, but transfer in your mind, but transforming your mindset. Yeah. So I kind of take it to like the kids' verse, kind of transform, not conform.
Transform.
No.
I love it. That's great. Oh, I can put my book out there. Because this is the one, that's that, but I do a bunch of other stuff. Just so-
That's a book. That's a book. Get your book out now.
This is a book. It's a compilation book that I'm in, a part of it. I have a story in here and some other different authors with Pastor Monica Haskell, who's my mentor, and then I just, I do.
So you know what's her name? Crystal.
McFadden?
Yeah.
Very friend. My mom and her are very close friends.
Yeah, she was on the show a month ago.
Yes, I know. I saw. I thought that was great. Yeah. And I was also at your author's cafe.
Yeah.
To support her.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
one
Oh,
that
the
you
virtual.
had,
Yeah.
the very first one, I guess, that you had.
Virtually. Yeah.
Because it was COVID.
It was May. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was the one I did it virtually. You know what I mean? That was,
Yeah.
the focus was on. Focus was on there. Focus was on there.
Yeah, but it was really good.
Yeah. So now with Focus, I did I did a purpose class that she offered a discount at that cafe. Went through that. Then did just finished this speakers boot camp with her. So we graduated. Then now I'm gonna do a youth life coach.
A youth life coach.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So I'm just told because I'm really focused on just our kids' mental health, right now in terms of this pandemic and three pandemics right now. With the COVID-19, the COVID-16-19, and the COVID the violence of Philadelphia. So like the gun violence. So we try and get them to figure out who they are as young people and find their purpose and help them like get to it now and not wait till later. Because I know all of them have a voice. I want them to use their voice now.
Amen.
So we not live yet, sorry.
No, I'm sure you'll tell me when we're live.
Yeah. I'm making sure. I mean, I was like, I'm scared. I'm like,
no, I'm just looking at
I'll just put that song right here.
No, I'm sure you'll tell me when we're live, because I just want to, I want to share it to my ministry page. I do want to do that. Let's see.
I think I'll start now.
That's fine, whenever you're ready. Timing.
Yeah, but that trip at Newark, that's what was crazy last night. But like, the drive was like, oh, I don't know, I'm like.
Now, where do you and Fatima, like, where do you live?
No, so I picked her up. So she lived in Upper Darcy, like 10 minutes from here.
Upper Darby, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, I'm like, damn. I'm like, God, I thought we get at 9:30 because it started at 9. So we thought we was gonna make it. So they let us in, but we got there at 9:30 because we went past the place like twice. So like, because they had no below a sign there. Say, hey, it's a booth here.
And where does she lives Upper Darby, but where do you live?
I'm in North Philly.
You're in North, is this North Philly? No.
This Upper Darby, it's like West Philly.
This is Upper Darby, okay.
It's West Philly, then go up 10 minutes to Upper Darby. So,
Okay, got it.
so she's about to move soon.
Okay.
But she saw this house in North Philly, right near Bar Erie. So it's right kind of near me. So so it's kind of good. It's right near Bar Erie. I think that's very. I'm proud of her. She's made me a better person.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, and then plus now I'm actually taking mental health therapy now. So I want to like break this cycle because a lot of times couples don't take therapy before they get married, and they bring all that stuff into the marriage. Like I'll be like, what? Where this came from? Like they don't know why. So
that is so beautiful.
So I started therapy last week. I'm trying to get some issues resolved in terms of trusting people.
Okay.
Not her, but just in terms of
from your past.
Yeah, from my past.
I understand.
So I'll bring it to my marriage. So I want to get rid of this before I propose to her.
Very nice. That's beautiful. So you're locking it down.
Yes.
And letting her know you want to be with her, and in the process of this
Work
time,
on yourself.
you're going to work on yourself and each other.
And I believe we shouldn't bring back into something new.
No, because and that's what but what I like what you're doing is you are letting her know I want to be with you, and we're going to do this. But
Right.
in the meantime, I'm going to get myself to you. I'm
Right.
working with some areas. Some people leave you stringing along until they
find out like what?
You're like, I'm gonna hook you down.
Right, because a lot of times we don't address it, especially when the time state we're living in now. We want to like hold on to things and carry that burden. So then you take it out on the wrong person, and they tell the person that you love, they already know cool about it. Then you gotta pick up the pieces and then work on that. Like, okay, I'm ready to work on this now before you put a ring on a finger.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I can actually know this is the one for me, and like I'm part of this change, and then I'll find out from there. You with me or you against me? Like I'm not gonna like put it out there because we ain't put out on Facebook that we dating yet. So
And you know
but our family knows. They know she called me babe. They kind of know who I am. So I put it up myself because I ain't want all that fake love. Okay, I'm like. Oh, you kind of excited for you, but I hear you all before then. Like, I was like.
Does she have a father or somebody that you need to ask for her hand? Or her
Yeah, supposed to be a father next month, but her and her father are kind of like a tangled relationship, so they're trying to work things out. So I actually met her mom last Saturday. So her sister's nephew turned 1 last week. So they had a block party. So I met their whole family.
So the only thing I'm gonna share with you, and I'm gonna just, only because I'm hearing the Lord, I'm being honest, is don't bind yourself to dates of engagement.
Right.
Okay? Because I know that you said January 1st.
Right, but I'm open to.
But whatever when the Lord says
Yeah.
that it's time, do that.
Right.
Because you may think, oh, I had 19 other things to work on, but she's walking with you through this, and there is even a closeness that happens during engagement. It's a process, like the dating stage, and he's my boo, that's great. But when you get engaged and she says yes, and you put that ring on, there's a different closeness that you may get to your end result a little bit sooner, just because of that connection. So I'm just sharing with you, don't lock yourself to a date.
Right.
Keep your mind open.
I know
God
that,
says, if he says Thanksgiving, if he says
yeah.
October 31st, it's whenever the Lord says.
It's funny, my birthday is October 21st.
Right, and mine is the 2nd. So
So
whenever God says,
Yeah,
do that,
do it.
because you think you may have this far to go, and you really only have this far to go because you've already started the process. So just trust me on that.
Right.
Okay?
Right. So I hope this works.
All right, well, here we go.
Oh, yeah, we're good. It's a Facebook.
Yeah, it happens.
All right, so thank you for those who are joining us here. This is our third interview of the day. The first time we had the show in 2+ years, 3 guests on this show. My third and final guest for the day is Miss Amber Jackson. She's an author to the speaker. So she pressed her way here from Jersey to get here. Her and Philly do not get along whatsoever, but she told me that before, but she made a way to here. And so we actually passed our interview time, but we'll go forward with that. So Amber, how are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely wonderful in my journey to Philly. I only live in Jersey, but I'm telling you, come to Philly is always an experience for me.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah, so we actually met a couple months ago doing an event, I think, for Fatima New, some event we did to get Always Cafe. You was a guest, and
Yes, I was.
and then you was on a dating thing, I think, on Friday night with a pastor and
Pastor Lauren Haskell
and
Minister Eddie Seaton.
Yes, yeah, you was on there. Me and Fatima was on there too that Friday night. Yep, and it was definitely a long conversation. It was like, I'm like, oh, I'll get hungry. I was like, but it was needed, though. I got a lot from that, just learning the process about engagement, their journey, about answering questions, but Fatima was there with me, along with me, so that was very important. So it brought us closer, but a lot of things brought us closer. But I wanted to ask you a question that I asked the 2 ladies earlier that I asked about. What is your perspective on what's been happening in Philly lately with the COVID-19, the social injustice, and also the gun violence that's been raging in Philadelphia, especially amongst our youth?
Well, I'm going to say it this way. I am not, and I don't make any bones about this, I watch the news probably once or twice a week, just so I don't live in my own bubble, and I know what's going on in the world, to be completely honest with you. But as far as everything with the gun violence, with COVID, with how we're treating people with racial injustice, my stance on it is this, is I do the very best that I can to show the light, to share light. I try not to get involved in too many conversations and politics and things. I really try to live out the word. I'm a Christian, so I try to live out the word. I try to shine the light. I try to give different perspective on how I treat everybody the same. That is something that I try. And obviously with prayer, all the time. But that's my best thing that I can always say is whatever's happening in the world that's negative, I try to know what's going on so that way I can live and do the exact opposite.
Right. So with me, I was kind of always that person that not watch the news, but now, 6 months, I start watching the news every day because someone's going on, you be like, what's going on? They told you to be more aware of what conscious is going on, because a lot of times people be sleeping on what's happening, and I think that's very trying to be always alert and aware, especially in the pandemic, be more aware more than ever. Yes. So it definitely takes a lot of prayer and a lot of faith and a lot of just meditation is meditating on the word because so much going on right now. Nothing right. You got to stay on the right path that God showed you to do. You know, and I think that's very highly important. So tell everyone in the audience here, who is Amber Jackson?
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you this way. It's Amber Chanel Jackson.
Oh,
It's all good. I use my middle name.
okay.
No, you don't. It's soon to be Amber Chanel Monet because I am getting married in November. I just recently got engaged. Yes, my true love. And who am I? I say Amber Chanel is because I do have a ministry, and it's called Amber Chanel Worldwide Ministries. Okay? I always use my first and my middle name because your last name is always subject to change. As a woman, your last name is always subject to change, but my mom gave me Amber Chanel. I've always loved my first name. I've always loved my middle name. So when God told me this is what I needed to do years ago, when I finally launched it last year, I named it Amber Chanel Worldwide Ministries. So what I do is a plethora of things that we are not going to be here all day to talk about that. They can follow me on Facebook at my page to see that. But most of all, and I would say most importantly, is I am a Christian. And I truly believe in God. I believe in the Word of God. And my most important quality that I have and that I share is I serve people and I serve God the way that I do because I walked away from ministry years ago. People don't know that. I was called at a young age. I was licensed preacher in my 20s.
Wow.
And the call that God had on my life was really greater than the sacrifice that I wanted to make at that time to be in my 20s to a ministry. So I decided to walk away, and I pretty much told God, I don't want to do this anymore. But last year, it was probably a couple of years ago, God was calling me back. I never stopped treating people right. I was always a light in the world.
Right.
I was always sweet and nice. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the ministry part, I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this. I walked back to God, and I'm honest to God, and I let him know that, I repented. I repented. I asked God to forgive me because I was holding up blessings of other people because I wasn't doing what God had called me to do.
Right.
So all of the areas in my life that I went through have gotten me to this place today. So I'm more grateful than anything that he's given me another chance to do his work, and he's truly done it for me.
Yeah, so I want to get back to that question. So Crystal's on here. Speaking of Crystal, she's on here. How you doing, about Crystal? And Flawless Beauty Fabulous is here as well. I'm trying to feel like you probably know her. So, so
I may or may not.
yeah. So you say you walked away at that time.
At that time.
What made you walk away, and what made you walk away from not doing the call that God called you to do that at that time? And what was the reason that you came back to answer that call from years ago?
So the reason, so I was called years ago. I was called as a young child. My mom always knew when she carried me that she was carrying somebody that was going to carry the word. So my mom always held on to that word. I was, I think, called to preach maybe 20s, got licensed like 24, 25. I don't have the exact dates. The reason why I walked away is because I saw myself great. And when I say great, I'm not talking about a pedestal. I saw myself doing big things for the Lord, ministering to people, sharing with people, talking to people. And the truth is I got scared because it created, I had to sacrifice. Okay, it wasn't about sacrificing the things of the world that people think in drinking and drugs and sex and alcohol. It was sacrificing myself of what Amber wanted to do to truly doing what God wanted to do. And I honestly, I didn't have faith. It was almost like I told God that he made a mistake for calling me. So I didn't believe in myself and what God had called me to do. So it was easier, instead of walking through the areas of fear and not making it, and oh my God, you might have to look crazy sometimes. Sometimes you might have to be embarrassed. You might not speak well as you think as you do, or you know what I mean? I was always trying to live up to somebody else's expectations because I compared myself to other people.
They shouldn't do that.
And shouldn't do that. So instead of being exactly who God called me to be and doing my best at the level that I was at, which is something I do the best at the level I am, I was too busy looking at other people in the same arena like me and comparing of I'll serve people, I'll visit them in the nursing home, I'll always be sweet. But as far as this ministry and serving and preaching, like, come on, like God, you must really mean somebody.
It was like the same. It was like God was holding you accountable for that. You're not gonna shut it down, but you gonna come back to me. What do you need? And then I think you had to overcome yourself, because you said it was worried about comparing to other people and what they were doing, trying to. In the day, you had to fill out that Amber Chanel name for you, and so that's I think you gotta overcome yourself. Overcome those fears and not worry about people fake.
Right.
The person care about is God's fake. That's it. You know what I mean? Because God was see what you're doing. It's about having your own name for you, and not trying to be someone else's name, because if you try to do that, you're gonna be miserable and then stressed out and tired and burnt out and not winning. So that's why you had to fit your own lane, you know. So
my own lane. And what brought me back was last year. It was August of 2019.
Okay.
I went to an Up Now conference with. She's currently my mentor. She's my coach. She is now my pastor, Monica Haskell. Okay, I went to a Women in Ministry conference, and it was called Up Now. And I went to different workshops. I registered. It was a Thursday, Friday, and I think a Saturday. Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. And I went by myself. I saw it on Facebook, and you know how you keep seeing things, and I was actually supposed to participate in this Women in Ministry conference. Like, it was basically comment and let me know if you're interested.
okay.
Instead of me commenting, I just kept scrolling. But God was pulling me. So when it came down to it, I said, oh, I'm not going to participate and give an opportunity to myself. I'm going to register and go. So I registered for the conference and went, and then enrolled in her mentorship program, and life has been different. I'm going to be ever since. Life has just been different. It helped give me the confidence that I needed back. It helped I was around other people like me, trying to do the same thing, but what she encouraged and instilled in, I would say myself, because I take it personal, is that to basically be who you are.
Right.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
You know, God made me who I am.
Right.
And this is who I am.
Exactly. That's where
So
it should be.
it just helps. So I would have to say that anybody that struggles with being themselves, you got to be around like-minded people.
Right. Plus, you're not alone. You're not.
Yeah, that pour into you.
Yeah, the white things, you know.
Exactly.
Sometimes people over the wall things, so you're like, okay,
No,
the white things.
Yes.
So what does your ministry consist of in terms of the, like what topics y'all talk about in ministry that may be outside the box? I'm not sure, but I'm trying to get a great understanding of what your ministry does and what y'all talk about. So so.
Right. So Amber Chanel Worldwide Ministries, first of all, it encompasses a few things. The one thing that encompasses is me being a speaker.
Okay.
Okay, is me being a speaker, me being a preacher, me being a minister. So speaking is my number one thing.
Gotcha.
The one thing that I walked away from that I didn't want to do is the number one thing that I do. Okay? Right. The number one thing that I do is what God called me to do. And speaking on different platforms to encourage, to share the word of God.
Yes.
Some things might be like I'm ministering, I've done different workshops, I've done panel discussions, I'll go to different county programs and everything. So it's Christian based, but it's for all people. Okay, so it's not just for the church, it's not just for the world. The message that God has given me is for everybody. And that message that I have on a shirt, which is not, actually I support one of my friends, but it's identity. What I am is an identity coach. Okay, everybody, you might have a transformation coach, you might have a life coach, you might have a relationship coach. I'm an identity coach. So what I do specifically is I help people find who they are in God. I encourage you to be exactly who God called you to be without explanation or apology to anybody.
Right.
That is what I do. So I host classes the third and fourth Tuesday of every month from 6:45 to 8 p.m. I Zoom. You may see it on Facebook. I do that. Another thing I do is I am a mentor for the millennial generation. I have a millennial ministry empowerment group that I have, and it's teaching them to that same thing, to be exactly who God called them to be, but do it at your level, because I was called as a millennial person or that like-minded group to show me what to do. So I do that. Why? Because I struggled with it, so this is my way of giving back. And then the third thing that I do, and I'm just breathing, like, I struggle with weight. That was also part of my identity, trying to find the right diet. You know how we do 19 diets and 15 meal plans, and this don't work, so I'm not going to do Jenny Craig, so I'm going to do Weight Watchers. I'm not going to do Weight Watchers, I'm going to do Atkins. I'm not going to do Atkins, I'm going to count calories. So I've been up and down my whole life up until last year. In January of 2019, I made a decision that, okay, God, give me a plan, and I'm not going back. This is the year, and from this point forward, January 1st, I am not going to lose this weight and gain it back. So my highest weight ever was 245 pounds. I'm down to 190, so I just hit 55 pounds. So what I also do is, my third piece is I am a coach for full-figure women. That's what I do. I have for full-figure women. It's full-figure fitness and fit. We do motivation, we do challenges. And what that is because sometimes when you're a fuller-figured woman, again, you're comparing yourself to somebody else.
True.
Just because you're heavier doesn't mean you can't do yoga. Just because you're heavier doesn't mean you can't work out. It doesn't mean that you're fit or that you're not fit. Okay?
True.
Just because you're heavier doesn't mean that. So what I do is this ministry, which is Amber Chanel Worldwide Ministries, encompasses everything in my life that I struggled with, so that people that are with me don't have to struggle the way I did. That's what I do.
That's a lot. That's 3-4 right there too.
It's other things under that, but those are my three main segments that I say I truly pour into.
Right.
Is that.
Yeah, and so I definitely know that in terms of like the millennial finding who they are, that identity coach. That's kind of like I took what I experienced and turned into testimony, because like with the speech therapy, being bullied, with being ignored, being not taken seriously, not having the conversations that I should have had in middle school about relationships and friendships and anger, forgiveness, and mental health, and just self-care and self-love. I kind of told that my kids, young kids, because I want them to know who they are and write an apology, because a lot of times our kids are scared to speak up, are scared to put themselves out there, because I think that's very, very important. Because a lot of times, a lot of kids are not okay with you, or a lot of kids are angry or are defense mode all the time, and they're scared to speak up. And I feel that our kids need that right now. The identity, find out, they know their names, but okay, they know who you are. But find out what you do and just do it, and not worry about what people think. Because at the end of the day, it's about pleasing God, not people. And I started saying that. Someone else started saying that like January. I'm like, it makes sense that at a time we try to please people, we be miserable, we be like frustrated, be burnt out, stressed out, and depressed. And then once we please God, there's actual peace come back. There's peace, there's healing, there's joy. Because you're not worried about what people think anymore. You're worried about what God thinks, because God is going to get pleased. That's all that matters, you know?
Exactly.
So,
you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, so I want to talk. So you talk about people are talking about your brain, struggling with weight, also like that. Struggling, then also find your calling, and now reconsider your calling. Now you are an author now. So what was the process that like you being an author, like becoming an author?
I fell into being an author.
Okay.
Okay, so one thing you'll find out about me, Levon, is I'm very transparent.
Right.
I'm not going to make it look like, oh, I've been doing this for years. No. Again, I'm a part of a business mentoring group with Pastor Monica Haskell, my mentoring coach. And she was putting together a project. And the project was to write your story, okay, within about 4 to 5 pages or so, and you could be a part of a compilation book.
Okay.
Which is what I have right here. The book is called Overdue. So this was my first, it's called Overdue, and what this book is about is exactly what it says, is for the overdue, the people that you walked away or you should have been doing this years ago. That's who she's called to. Right. So it was about, and I said, okay, I guess I'll try it. And that's what I say, I fell into being an author. That's what it was I did, is I fell into it, I submitted it, and I am now in this book. So I am a published author. I have some other things that I am working on personally.
That's why I asked you, your own book coming out.
I have some other things that up, because this inspired me. This was like step one
Mhm.
to do it, and how you can do it so simply. Like sometimes we make the smallest projects, we blow them up to be humongous. And it's like, it's not that serious or deep. You see what I mean? It was like, we finished this, I think, in about a week. She gave us 2 weeks. She gave us 2 weeks, and we had 2 weeks to submit our story
Mhm.
and get it edited professionally. So I learned how to find a professional editor. It was all these things, and we submitted to her, and she put it together. So it just showed me that it's all possible. It's whether or not that you want to actually take the step. So I'm working on a couple of things. Expect to see this soon. Probably, I'm going to say around the beginning of 2021.
Okay.
Okay, I have a few things in the works.
Okay, okay. So where people can find us on social media, we can find you at? People can find information about you, your ministry, also that the book, write the book as well. Yeah.
Okay, so the first place that I always share for everybody to go is to amberchanel.com. It's basically exactly how my name is on here. If you wrote it,
Right.
it's amberchanel.com, and in there is an email address that you can email me. It comes directly to me because I am relational. So I make sure that I connect with people. If you email me, I will get back to you. And that way, if you want to sign up for any of my classes, if you want any information on my classes, if you want to purchase a book, I have a t-shirt that I've launched that says Girl with Goals. If you want to do any of those things, you can actually find me right there. And it connects you to my Instagram page and my ministry and events with Amber Chanel business page as well.
Okay. And also, one more question. I have a question. So you said you did do identity code sessions with the middle generation. Do you have like any activities that maybe I can do with our youth in terms of identity, especially as middle school, high school students, because they are in that stage of trying to find out who they are and what they're trying to do in terms of like know who they are and being okay with that. So is there like do you have like an activities template or like something I can use and implement for my kids, especially as they now go to virtual school now? So because it's kind of be more hard to find out who they really are because they're not with their friends, or and plus they can't be in schools to like experience like the experiments and touching out, like filling out the process of knowing who they are. Because I feel this year it's a lot this year our kids are gonna be dealing with the trauma and them working with that mental health piece and yourself and trying to find out who you are and without worrying about what people parents think about you. So what was your advice on that? So
My advice with that is this, I'll explain. So the programs that I have come directly from me.
okay.
And what I offer, it's all life experiences that I've created to share points and principles on finding your identity on certain subjects. So that's that. So I don't have, and I have to be very honest, I don't have a cookie cutter program.
Okay.
The reason why I don't have a cookie cutter program, because anybody that works with me personally or you work with me in a group, it is actually designed for that particular group. And I have points, I have principles, I have things that I'm sharing, but the Holy Spirit has downloaded that to me prior to. So I don't have a cookie cutter program. What I could say for you is what we could do is we could always connect and have a session to figure out what is your goal, what do you want them to accomplish during this next school season, what do you want to offer them, and what do you want to see out of them as well? What is your mission? So we could always put something together for you as well to help you with that. But my programs are not cookie cutter.
I figured that.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was because you say identity, because I think that's one of the big things our youth are struggling with right now, especially as COVID. In terms of, I'm not saying struggling, but in terms of some of you are struggling with that.
They are.
Because because in the day, I want the youth to break this cycle. Break this generational curses of stuff they have seen and endured. Because I want them to speak out about a lot of things, and I want them to not have that fear of them worrying about what people think, how they're gonna react. I want them to be okay in their own skin. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Latino, Asian. I want them to be okay with their own skin and be comfortable with them doing that.
So what I would probably say is I would ask if you host them for a group. I don't know if it's virtual. It's probably
we probably all virtual.
So then I would probably I would ask open-ended questions. I always have 3 open-ended questions responses, you can build something and activities around it for them. And you can also know that you're giving them exactly what it is that they need.
Right.
You're not guessing and pulling out of the air like, oh, let me talk about this. No, you just collect the data, what they need, and then you can build your program around that.
Right, this is gonna be something for the fall, because, when we start back programming in the spring. Because that's something I'm gonna ask my kids on Monday next week with the summer program, because I kinda did this with the virtual program, and I asked them, I did like, the intake form in terms of what topics, I put topics out there that we were gonna talk about, and check off for them, it's okay for them to talk about this, and then, if there was a subject there that we didn't cover or put on there that you wanna cover, let me know. So we get responses about, some of our college planning, we had that next week, you know, one of the kids suggested, it was something about self-love, we did that Thursday, so we try to get them what the kids need. So that was good for me, for me to follow up with my kids in the summer, as they go away for 2 weeks. I don't know, we'll go connect with them again. So if we can help them in some type of way, that last session, what they need from us after they leave, then before the school, we can help them get what they need, and then have those conversations, you know, about identity, and I sort of about identity for years, especially in middle school. I waited sort of in that. High school, I was okay, but too much of my 30s to find out who I was and be okay with that. You know,
I get it, and I would be happy to help you if you needed any help, or you want, me to share, or anything, by all means, just reach out to
I'll
me.
tell you one thing too with the kids after this Friday, and because the school district want us to do programming and on site, but the schools are not open. So now our kids go to school in Philly, they'll be home anyway. So it'd be hard for them to put them at risk for COVID, put them on the bus and traveling. Except they might not get train passes to travel to a site in South Philly. Most of our kids don't live in South Philly at all. So if we can do something virtual with them, find out what they need before we come back, we can actually come back and we have to do A, B, C, D. We got what we need for them, based on the kids' perspective, because that will help them get on stage on virtual programming, because we get them what they need. You know what I mean? So I was trying to see how we can do that, because I want them, the kids can fall back to what they were just 5 weeks ago. You know, so I felt like these kids are really changing, they're really evolving, they're verifying, they're really speaking up, and I feel that we want to keep that going. You know, I don't want like that, those moments to phase out. You know, so. But also, Amber, you're gonna be a part of something on August September 19th.
Yes.
September August Cafe 26. So for those who are watching, Amber will be one of the authors participating in August Cafe 26 on Saturday, September 19th at 4 p.m. So we'll be on Zoom and at Waypoint Cafe. I will be there on site. But also, you support her tomorrow, book her journey as she did today. But again, you can see her again as well. But she's doing an awesome, wonderful job. I thank God for us connecting. You know, just because I saw what she was doing, I had to connect with you, and I wanted to get you involved. Plus, I saw the engagement too. How you proposed to you. That was really funny. That was really cute. Your mom knew the whole time.
Yes.
Oh man.
They got me on that.
Yeah, they did. And your mom knew the whole time.
I'll never forget that day.
Yes, but I'm glad y'all connected. God doesn't make mistakes. He brought you back for a reason. Now, because he had to work on yourself first and get back to your purpose and what God's called you to do from years ago. He had to work on him as well. So God, once y'all find yourselves and find out your purpose was and go back to where your assignment was, y'all can end it, if we, put together,
That's exactly what he did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So, thank you for those, Sheila, Crystal.
That's my mom.
Oh, hey,
Sheila's my mom.
oh, hey, Sheila, how are you? She was on here. She wrote, you better talk about it, So Ebony J was on here.
That's my assistant.
Okay, she put the website out there as well. Chef Larry's on here. Chef Larry, a good friend of mine. Again, for those who have been on here for the whole entire time, thank y'all so much for just watching with us. This is our longest show that we had the past 2 years, but it's been worth it. Having 3 outstanding guests. You closing out our guests today, so yeah, so, so again, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your transparency, your journey, because that identity and that transparency is so very, very important. So we're going to do it. I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks. I know it's got I know, right? Couple weeks. Also, we're going to talk as well about the crushes you told me about with the kids, because I think that what you're doing is needed in this time. Really helping the women, especially the work that he calls you to do in that specific area that you're doing. So for those who've been watching, thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. I pray that you have a blessed rest of your Saturday. Be safe out here because there's a lot going on. Please wear a mask. COVID's still out here as well. Just be mindful of people and just mindful of yourself. And look in the mirror before you go to bed and say to yourself, am I doing what God's called me to do? So if you are, you keep doing that. But if you are, ask God, what more can I do to make this better for me and for you? Because in the day, we try to make it in. You try to make it in and just say, well done, my good faithful servant. That's all right. So we want to leave this earth empty. So because we want nothing left, we will leave this earth empty. So we'll do anything that God calls you to do. Be safe and be mindful and be grateful for what God's called you to do. So and take time to celebrate yourself and enjoy the victory as well. So Amber, thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Hope you for the rest of hope you tune in next week. We got LaQuan Richards on the show next week and Jay Rivers on the show as well. So please tune in next week. Support what we are doing, Pat the Greatness, and our radio show platform is really about getting people who've been transformed by God to do what He's called them to do in these last evil days. So be safe, be mindful, be great, and be blessed. We good.
Time has ended. Oh, thank you. That was awesome. You do a great job.
Thank you.
You do a great
This is
job.
from me saying I had speech problem. People told me I couldn't do this.
Listen, isn't that
Right.
awesome?
Take your weakness and turn it into
Listen, you took what they said you couldn't do, and you said I'm gonna do it all that they have.
Right.
That's